So how can a bunch of totally random, kind of weird, and hilarious childhood memories actually come together to tell a much, much bigger story? Well, that's what we're about to dive into.
You know, my grandfather said this to me the other day. It's such a beautiful thought, right? It really sets the stage for this warm, fuzzy, nostalgic journey.
Except, yeah, he left out that little detail. And that one piece of context, it completely changes everything. It gets to the real heart of childhood. Absolute, unfiltered, and honestly, pretty hilarious chaos.
So where does all that chaos really begin? Well, for a lot of us, it starts at home. Welcome to the Sibling Battlefield, a permanent two-man WWE main event happening right in your living room.
This pretty much sums it up. My little brother, he had this big dream of becoming a doctor. So naturally, whenever we played our games, he was always, and I mean always, cast as the patient with hemorrhoids. Hey, it's a tough world out there for aspiring doctors.
But the fun wasn't just at home. Oh no, it followed us to school, where the whole idea of sibling responsibility was twisted into a new level of public humiliation.
So picture this. My brother has let's call it an accident at school. Do they call my parents? Nope. They call me. I get pulled out of class to investigate the crime scene while the suspect is escorted off the premises by 2 staff members. He was, let's just say, caught brown-handed.
And this was his defiant cry as they were leading him away. You gotta give it to the kid. Even in his darkest hour, he had a flair for the dramatic. Total respect.
Of course, the chaos couldn't just stay in our house or at school. It had to spill out into the entire neighborhood, a place where the line between being a genius and being a complete idiot was, well, it was blurry.
Just take this tire, for example. A tire we, let's say, borrowed from our own family car. We came up with this game that had this perfectly logical progression. It starts with a fun swing, which leads to an injury, and of course, ends with tying the swing to your newly injured friend. Kids are just brutal.
But you know, simple playground injuries just weren't enough for us. My friend and I decided we had to go bigger. The next challenge? A kite, and a spool of string so massive it felt like it could reach the moon. The mission was simple: let all of it out. So for 2 solid hours, we're letting this string out, the kite is just a tiny speck in the sky, and then something incredible happens. We see these weird wave signals coming down the line. We were convinced this was it. We'd made first contact. We found aliens. As it turns out, what we actually made contact with was a little bit more expensive than any alien spaceships. Yeah, those weren't alien signals. That was the sound of our kite string slicing clean through the cable of a $100 million NASA telescope. So we didn't exactly discover a new civilization. We just committed an act of astronomical vandalism. Whoops. And hey, the chaos wasn't just external. The inside of a kid's mind is its own wild place, right? It's run by terrifying myths, totally irrational fears, and some seriously faulty logic. Okay, so for this next story to make any sense, you need to know about the Chudayal. She's this legendary witch from a ton of ghost stories, and her main thing, the most important detail, is that her feet are on backward. Remember that.
So when I was a kid and I saw her footprints, I did the logical thing, right? I ran in the opposite direction, which, thanks to those backward feet, meant I was running directly towards her. It's the perfect supernatural trap for a kid who's really bad with directions.
My brain was also fantastic at misinterpreting things. Like, I saw the trailer for the movie Tare Zameen Par, a really touching film about a kid with dyslexia. But my brain, it saw an action horror film where a crazy kid was terrorizing the world and Amir Khan had to build an electric grid made of stars to capture him. Yeah, that's why I was so terrified of being sent to boarding school.
So, all of these stories, the sibling fights, the neighborhood disasters, the backward-footed witches, they all seem so random. But here's the thing, they were all leading somewhere.
One day, my brother and I just had this really simple thought. Our lives were basically just one long string of weirdness, and we started thinking, hey, maybe other people would think this is funny too. And the plan we came up with was just so simple, it was perfect. It was a division of labor that made total sense after a lifetime of shared chaos. I said, you talk, and he said, I'll animate.
And just like that, all of that random, chaotic energy finally had a purpose. Our childhood wasn't just a bunch of weird stories. It was the origin story for our YouTube channel, Not Your Type. So that kind of leaves us with one last thought. Maybe all the weirdest, most chaotic parts of our past aren't actually embarrassing. Maybe they're the ingredients for the most creative things we'll ever do. So what's the absurd memory that defines your story?